The Competition Commission has recommended strict rules for some global companies, and they include Google, Takealot, Booking.com, Uber Eats, and Apple. Now, this is all part of attempts to ensure digital competition is fair. Now, let's discuss this now further with Itumeleng Lesofe, Principal Analyst at the Competition Commission. Itumeleng, thank you so much for your time. So the inquiry started in 2021 and it included public hearings and requests for information from digital businesses. Did industry participate well during this investigation?
Good afternoon, Melissa, to you and the viewers. Yes, I mean, the stakeholders engaged with the Commission extensively. They participated extensively in the process, including the affected parties themselves that you have mentioned. There has been mutual cooperation, and there was extensive engagement with all the stakeholders in the sector. I mean, this was very important because eventually, in the determination of the remedial actions or remedies, we had to make sure that these remedies are reasonable and practicable, or rather can be implemented. So overall, yes, there was extensive engagement by the industry.
So the goal was to make it easier for small businesses to compete on e-commerce or advertising sites. Can you give us some instances of where there was unfair competition?
Yeah, so we looked at 6 different categories of what we call intermediation platform services, where these different platforms offer what we call intermediation services. And in all these different categories, we found that there were certain practices or features of markets that distort competition. So, for example, if you look at Google search, I mean, Google plays a very important role in digital markets. So without access to Google, or without, if you are unable to participate in paid search, it means you will not be able to advertise on Google. So what we found is that the current business model that is being used by Google is such that it favors large local and international companies that have a significant or substantial financial resources. So small platforms or businesses that do not have deep pockets find it extremely difficult to compete for visibility on Google. If you look at classifieds where you have property and automotive classifieds, here we found that small estate agents and car dealerships are subjected to discriminatory, or what you can describe as exploitative pricing practices. For example, small estate agents normally pay significantly high listing fees in comparison to the listing fees that are paid by their counterparts, that is large estate agents. And this naturally affects their competitiveness and their ability to compete effectively. In food delivery as well, we found that small independent restaurants that rely on food delivery platforms are subjected to high commission fees. And as a result of these high commission fees in comparison to what their counterparts pay, this makes it difficult for them to also compete effectively. And as a result, their final pricing or their menu prices are higher in comparison to their competitors. So generally, these are the kind of issues that we have picked up, and we have developed a set of remedies to address all of these.
So what are some of the key recommendations?
So if you look at Google search, as I pointed out, I mean, Google plays a major role in these markets. So one of the remedies that we have imposed requires Google to invest about 330 million, which will ensure that small and medium-sized businesses have an opportunity to participate, for example, in paid search. So these small businesses will get credits so that they can compete for paid search. Over and above that, Google will reconfigure its search engine page such that it creates a unit specifically for small and medium-sized enterprises so that they can also enjoy visibility. In all the other different categories of the intermediation platform services, we have a package of remedies that seek to ensure to give some relief to small and medium-sized enterprises. For example, if you look at classifieds, here the platforms that participate or that offer services in classifieds, that is both property and automotives, are required to provide packages with lower prices, and these packages will benefit small and medium-sized or small estate agencies and car dealerships. In other words, going forward, these businesses will pay a lower listing fees. And as a result of that, we hope that their ability to compete effectively will be improved. Similarly, even in food delivery, there are packages which will enhance the ability of small and independent, for example, restaurants, to compete effectively with large local and international chains.
So, Itumeleng, the Competition Commission's recommendations are binding and can be legally enforced, but this is such a big scope over so many companies. How will you ensure that every party plays its part?
Yeah, as I pointed out, Melissa, we've had extensive engagements with the affected parties. And I should point out that even though some of them do not necessarily agree with the remedies that we have imposed, they have given input into these remedies. They have tested them, and they have given us assurance that these remedies are implementable, and they are willing to implement them. So from that perspective, we expect compliance by most of the affected parties. We have also built in a mechanism, because we acknowledge that it may happen that some of the remedies become difficult to implement because of unforeseen circumstances. So we have built-in mechanisms that will take care of that. In an event that there are platforms that decide to ignore these remedial actions, the Competition Tribunal is there. It has dealt with matters of this nature before. Generally, the Competition Tribunal is empowered to enforce its own orders, and where appropriate, it has imposed penalties. So we hope we don't get there in this market inquiry, because there has been extensive engagements and consultation. But should it happen, the normal processes that are followed by the Competition Tribunal will be followed even in this instance.
Thank you so much, Itumeleng. That was Itumeleng Lesofe, the Principal Analyst at the Competition Commission.